All right, so let's get to it, Andres.
All right.
So we're here
We are.
podcasting. First podcast ever with headphones for those of you who are
Watching?
just listening.
Oh,
If they're watching, they can see us with headphones
That's
on.
true.
This is a game changer because now we can hear our own voices and we're having our significant others experience. We know what our voice sounds like in our own ears now.
how lucky are they?
My wife was right.
What did your wife say?
Sometimes when we're just talking in conversation, she'll cover her ears. Then she'll just say like my voice, and like we're having like a really like happy conversation. It's like everything's great, but I just realized that my voice is so abrasive that she has to cover her ears.
Does
Sometimes.
she do that like slowly? Is it like a...
Yeah. She's trying to be polite about it. There's no real being in a conversation with somebody. There's no polite way to cover your ears.
No, there's not. Not at all.
But do you know who's with us today?
Who's with us?
You're supposed to tell.
I always introduce.
Okay. How about we let him introduce himself?
All right, let's do that.
All right, mystery friend. What's your name?
Who are you?
What's up? It's Rich. That is my name.
Just Rich? Come on, give us your full name.
Castillo. Richard Castillo. Full name.
Richard Castillo. Welcome, Rich. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for being willing to have this conversation with Andres and I.
Excited to be here.
Andres, Rich, is there a way to cover your ears in a conversation with somebody and not come across as being rude?
I think the best way would probably be to do like I don't know if you've ever done like a not a yawn, but like you pop your, you know how you can pop your ears if you yawn, like, and kind of hold the air in. So it's like do like a...
Interesting.
And pop your ears.
You mean like hold my breath until I pass out? That's one way out of a conversation.
I don't think there's a not a rude way to block your ears and tune somebody out, but I would say if there was a way, it would be that.
Okay, hold on. So you're not trying to tune someone all the way out. You're just trying to protect your eardrums from someone's really loud voice.
You just kind of like slowly put your head like, just kind of cover one ear.
What if you're standing though?
Rough.
So there's no way. Anyways, it's not what we're here to talk about.
It's not? I thought this was the whole point.
No, this podcast is all about Rich today.
All about Rich.
All about Rich. So Rich, first of all, tell us why you're here. Do you know why you're here?
I was invited here to be present today, and I don't fully know why I'm here, but I am happy to be here. But I was told that I must bring something
Ooh, we're starting off.
to be here.
I like it.
Yeah. So what'd you bring?
So I have this thing here, and it is it's in my pocket.
Nice. We love that.
Go
Yeah,
on.
Yeah. Don't worry, you don't have to censor any of this.
Good.
So what I have here is from my travels from Japan.
Ooh.
And I've never opened it.
Whoa.
So
You've never opened
I don't know what's actually inside.
What?
So we might have to censor.
No, it's definitely not something you'd have to censor, but it'd be interesting. And I don't know where to show it. It's right there.
So where'd you get this?
So this was like from one of the little $100 like yen shops.
$100
or 100
shops?
yen shops.
Is that like a dollar
so it's
store?
like a dollar store. Yeah.
Nice.
So describe what this is for people who are only listening.
So I don't really know. I just saw it was very interesting, and it essentially is a random like cat with
I love it.
presenting some type of pastry, but I don't know what pastry he's presenting because it could be, I think it says the number. It's like all in a different language. So unfortunately, maybe there's like 10 different kinds. I don't know.
So it's a rectangular box that has, it's like one of those mystery eggs.
Yeah.
What were those chocolate eggs that you could smash and they'd have like a mystery on the inside?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
is it Kinder? I thought it was something else. It was like a big ball.
It had like
Different
candy
candy.
inside. Yeah. Some of them were.
That was Kinder Eggs.
Oh, it's Wonder Ball. Oh, I
Wonder Ball.
wonder what's no
Yeah.
Wonder Ball.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So this is the Wonder Ball of Japan.
Yeah,
But instead
apparently.
of candy, it's full of a cat that is holding a platter with some sort of pastry on it.
Yeah. So
we don't know what the pastry is.
We don't know what the pastry is. All right, it looks like it could actually be a coffee mug too. So
Oh. I feel like
your
that'd be
treat.
fitting. Oh, you have to.
Oh,
open
yeah,
it.
you have to open
I'm
it.
opening it. Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what it is.
Get up to the mic so we have some ASMR going on.
Oh yeah. Here. Hold on.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
That was good. All right. Oh, that popped air there. Perfect.
Air straight from Japan.
Straight from Japan. Let's see.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Okay.
Do you have to assemble it?
Oh.
It's a small assembly, but it looks like he's holding a baguette.
A baguette.
French bread, right?
You know,
Amen.
I've actually heard from Young, another employee of BlackRock, that Japan has the best French food in the world.
Interesting.
That's completely anecdotal.
I've had the hotel we stayed at was French,
Interesting.
and their breakfast was obviously all like French, and I was not a huge fan of French breakfast.
What is French breakfast? Is it just like a baguette?
It's just croissant.
Oh, yeah. For those of you who couldn't hear, Zach said coffee and a cigarette.
I was not a fan of their eggs. They like to make their eggs very runny,
Ugh.
and I was just like, I don't really like this that much.
Just so you guys know, Rich is putting together.
Yes, I'm
said
currently
cat.
assembling this cat here.
Where will we put the cat with the baguette?
We got the shelf right here.
Yeah, once this is fully assembled, he will be living in here for all time.
I love it.
I guess this
I'm,
it's his offering.
what do you want to name?
know?
What do you want to name said cat?
Finn.
Finn. Wow. It'll be like he's always here with us. For
He
those
will.
of you who don't know, Finn is my cat.
That's awesome.
There you
What a
go.
nice looking
You
cat.
can see it on the camera.
Zach's got
There
some
you go.
tape for you. I think Zach has an idea about what to do with this
Oh,
cat.
word. Okay.
All right.
So Rich, if you wouldn't mind sharing, what were you doing in Japan staying at a French hotel in the first place?
Yeah, how long ago was that?
This was 2016 or 17? Maybe it was 17.
You've kept this in a box for that long?
Oh yeah, I have other stuff still in a box.
That's incredible. Are you really good at saving in general?
I love collecting things and not opening them.
Interesting.
I'm very key on. He's joining the chat.
Oh, he's too heavy.
His offering's just too much.
Oh, he's
There we
going to
go.
fall
There
back.
it
He's
goes.
going to fall back.
No.
He's leaning with
He's
it.
Fat Joe sitting
leaning with
sideways.
it. He's leaning with it.
He's leaning really hard.
Oh no, sitting sideways was Paul Wall. I was gonna. Fat Joe was
Sitting
leaned back.
sideways.
Yeah.
That's Paul Wall. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all good. It's okay.
He's not going to stay.
Bro, he's
No, we're going to put him on the shelf.
Oh,
there he goes.
wow.
All right, now tell us about your adventure to Japan.
Yeah, so my buddy and I always wanted to do it. It was on our bucket list, probably. I just see Andre's like, I can't even hold composure here. Yeah, my buddy and I always wanted to go to Japan, and we're huge into like anime and stuff like that. So one of the biggest things was for us was like, let's go. And about a 13-hour direct flight. We went there and we stayed for, I think it was like 10 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so pretty long time. And yeah, we went to a 100 yen shop and I bought a bunch of stuff there. Like there's things there that their 100 yen shop, let's just say, puts our dollar stores to shame.
Like, what are some features in every 100 yen shop that you would see?
I mean, like just like their dishes and like bowls and like that type of stuff was just such higher quality than like the stuff we have. Like, I mean, if you go to a dollar store and you try to get like bowls and plates and things like that, you're probably gonna get like almost like paper plates.
They're melting in the microwave.
Yeah.
What every dollar store has, which is really underrated, are plungers.
For $1.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah, and they work. It's one of the greatest Christmas gifts I've ever gotten in my life.
Dollar
It was from the
plunger?
dollar store.
Dollar
yeah,
store
yeah.
plunger.
I used to throw it and it would stick to the wall.
I don't think that's what you're supposed to use it for.
Wait, after use or before?
No, so
Because
actually,
if
I
it
never
was
used
after-
it for plunging a toilet, but it was awesome, like for just like throwing at things,
Very nice.
like a tomahawk.
Very nice. Very nice. It won't kill somebody. It won't be that effective, but it could leave a mark.
So what, like, I know this wasn't in the plan at all, but like, what's
Yeah.
something really memorable about Japan that you're like, oh man, if I were to go back, I would do this again?
Man, I really like the ramen museum. So they have a whole ramen museum dedicated to the ramen noodle like cup. Not so I don't think it's Maruchan. I think that's another brand, but I think it's literally the ramen noodle cup. And everything in that museum had to do with how this instant ramen came to be, and it was actually like monumental of a thing for like the Japanese people, because before then the process to make ramen was like, you know, hours worth of your time, and like instant ramen noodle was like the biggest game change to them. So just seeing like how that process went, and this guy like essentially developed this in a shack, like probably no bigger than, actually maybe half the size of this room.
Well,
Yeah. And, you know, they essentially have like the whole like journey of it as you're going through it. And then at the end, you get to build your own like custom ramen noodle cup.
oh, cool.
And mine is still at home, unopened.
Unopened.
So what's
So
inside your ramen noodle cup?
I chose pork ramen. So it's literally, I could cook it, but it's probably gonna be bad now since it's been since 2017.
Hey,
or
the
16.
preservatives in there.
That's right.
It's incredible
Yeah.
what 4 ramen packs for $1, like how well those last.
Oh yeah,
They do. Well, they don't last because you eat them. But,
Well, I mean, if you don't eat them,
right.
yeah.
they're great, like nuclear fallout food.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Good survival food.
Yeah, yeah.
You just
my
need to
fave.
find a way to boil water, and have clean water.
Good
That's
point.
true.
Good point.
Well, when you're boiling it, it should.
Not all the time.
Not all the time, you're
Yeah,
right.
sadly.
It's all right.
Well, so Rich, I found out when I asked you, "Hey, Rich, what do you like?" Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, you answered the question, and then you said you like spicy things.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So this is how I was planning on starting.
I mean, the cat just really
I know
stole the
but
show.
he's somehow still clinging on.
I hope that every guest that appears on this show after can top this.
It's
It
pretty
could only
impressive.
go up from here.
No,
so.
no, that's cool. This thing traveled further than anything else in this room. I thought I set the record week one with something from Pennsylvania.
Well, what about the poop coffee?
And then, okay, hold on.
oh, sorry.
Zach brought something from Alabama. And then, oh yeah, the poop coffee came from Indonesia. But these are like equidistant, right?
Yeah, because
Oh.
Japan is just like 13 hours ahead of us. So I don't know, like maybe 1,300 or something miles. I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
even
more than 1,300
like
miles for sure.
2,100. I don't know.
'Cause,
It's
like,
13 hours
yeah.
ahead. So
Hawaii is like 6 hours off the coast of California, and that's like 2,000 miles from the closest land.
It's like 6,000 miles to Japan.
6,000
Oh,
miles
so
to
then-
Japan?
yeah, there
That's
you go.
wild.
Yeah.
But you know what? No one liked the poop coffee, and we're never going to drink it again.
Nope.
But we do like the cat
We do
holding the
like the
baguette.
cat.
Okay, so how I wanted to start was I thought it'd be fun to eat the spiciest thing I could find. But Whole Foods let me down, and so I had to go with the hottest sounding thing, which what I have here is called Dinosaur Barbecue's Devil's Duel.
Okay.
And it says, watch your food rise from purgatory as the forces of good and evil come together in our blistering hot sauce. So I got this hot sauce, and then I was thinking we could eat something with it on it. But Andres, I know he loves boneless wings, which are pretty much glorified chicken nuggets. So I said, I'll get chicken nuggets, but then Whole Foods let me down again. They didn't have any chicken nuggets.
Interesting.
So I had to go with the vegan option.
No, Russell.
Hold on. It gets worse.
Full name.
So these are spinach nuggets. And
That's disgusting.
they're covered in
Russell.
I doused them.
That's disgusting.
They're shaped like dinosaurs. Actually, it's funny because I bought the dinosaur pack, but one of them shaped like a star, which I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like the asteroid that came and killed all the dinosaurs. So I also brought forks because we're not barbarians. So the goal here Rich, you don't have any food allergies, do you?
No.
Yeah, spinach.
Oh, great.
Sorry,
So-
I actually can't eat spinach.
Yes, you can. What do you mean you can't eat spinach?
As my brother would say, it's against my religion.
Okay, well, we're going to eat them. So I covered these as much as possible. This says it's only habanero, which I was hoping for something spicier, but seriously, Whole Foods, you got to step up your spicy game. So what we're going to do is we're all going to eat one, and then one of us is going to tell our story of the spiciest food you ever ate.
Okay.
And then when the next person is about to tell their story, we eat another one. And then when the next person goes, we finish off the last one.
Okay.
So we got to eat 3 of them, even if they're gross. And I microwaved them, so they're going to be
Russell.
extra nuts. I didn't have time to bake them in the oven.
Put them in the toaster oven upstairs.
Yeah, I didn't have time for that.
Why?
I was running late, so I just tossed them in the microwave really quick.
They're probably cold by now.
Okay, I only cooked them for half the time that they said they need to be cooked for.
Russ.
I figured it's not about if it's cold or whatever. It's about the spiciness. And it's edible. They're fully cooked before. The spinach is all cooked before we eat it anyways. Okay,
All right.
so Rich, you want to go first? Spiciest thing you ever ate?
So eating first, then talk?
We all eat and then
Okay.
you talk.
All right.
Here we go.
All right.
Oh, mine fell apart. Okay, I'm going to start
you're
mine
getting
around there.
extra sauce,
Yeah,
okay.
extra sauce. I'm a man. All right.
I'll take the star that killed them.
Okay. Ready?
All right.
Let's do it.
Your ASMR is gross.
It's definitely not.
I brought coffee because I thought we were going to eat. I don't want to mix my coffee with this.
It doesn't taste good.
It's a little undone, but it's not that
It's
it's not that spicy.
No, it's like spicy vinegar. It's not good.
Crying.
Andres, I think you're good. I think you're good, bro.
Oh, you gotta tell your story.
Oh yeah. So spiciest thing that I ever
You can't get out of this. You have to eat it.
otherwise it's just gonna be like a stack of 3 and you're gonna have to eat all 3 at one time. So the spiciest thing that I ever ate.
Yeah.
All right, spiciest thing was the 1 chip challenge. I had
Oh, wow.
the world's spiciest chip. It's 1 chip, comes in a black. Andres is dying.
I feel so bad for vegans.
Yeah, this is terrible. Like
Heather-
this is their
Heather
this is
eats this
supposed
all
to.
the time. She was cheering me on as I pulled out the package from the freezer.
You know that they make like vegan nuggets.
That's what this is. What I'm talking about.
No, but this is like not even soy. It's
No,
spinach.
it's called chicken.
Chicken. Yeah, with a
Except
little
the apostrophe covers the E, which makes it somehow not chicken.
Not chicken. Yeah. But the spiciest thing I had, was the 1 chip challenge, the world's spiciest chip, and I died.
When
It
did
was-
this happen?
Probably a year ago at this point, maybe just a little over a year, and it was a buddy and the same buddy that I went to Japan with. We have had a YouTube channel where we did spicy stuff like that, and there's a video of me dying on YouTube eating this 1 chip.
Oh, great.
It's the Pocky 1 chip
Can we get
challenge.
that in, Zach? Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And it comes in a little black bag. It's no bigger than like the size of your fist.
Is it just, it's literally
1 chip.
Wow.
And once you consume it, you go through pain
Go on.
and nothing helps. Water, milk, ice cream,
Well, you should never have water.
bread.
You had all that available to you?
Oh yeah.
He was
And
ready.
the challenge is like you have to last a certain time to be considered like you beat the challenge.
How long is that?
I think it's 3 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It's to be
I lasted
considered
like
man.
7 minutes
Wow.
and 30 seconds.
You
My
are
buddy, I
man.
think, lasted just the 3 minutes. But I was refusing and I was sweating. I took my glasses off. I said
So you
that
know
I
it's
was
You
bad.
just keep it in your mouth?
No, you chew, swallow.
Sorry.
Did you
Zach.
cough and stuff?
I started getting the hiccups because I got a little proud in the beginning. Like I was like, then the Lord humbled me very quickly. I ate it.
You okay, Andres?
Andres, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about having another one.
Oh,
Hey, we're in this together. There's another star if you want the star next.
yeah, it's smaller.
Is it? It looks just
It's less intimidating.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's very, very challenging. But at the end of it all, Sure, it is definitely the world's toughest chip, and they apparently make like a whole bag worth of this stuff, and some people actually buy it and eat an entire bag.
Yeah, I feel like I had students who were trying it on senior sneak.
Yeah.
So how much is the one chip if you want to just get into this?
Oh man, I might be like $10
For one chip, how much is the bag?
$5 or $10. Probably like 20 or something more. I don't know. Like, I just know that it is very tough. It's not easy, and you're supposed to wear gloves. You really shouldn't like put your hand near your face because it'll hurt even more. But everything that you think would happen to you happens. You start sweating. You start tearing up. You hate like life.
That's how I feel eating these.
So it's funny. I knew it was bad when Owen's school, my son's school, sent out an email about not letting your kids try the one chip challenge. Like first it's not talking to strangers, and then it's don't let your kids eat the one chip.
Do one chip.
All right, here we go. Round 2. I'm going to go for the, I think it's a Stegosaurus, actually.
That's cute.
You guys aren't going to rub around this extra nice hot vinegar sauce?
No. Sure. I just want to get it done.
I got the table dirty. Look at
that. Who's it? That's Rich.
Is that my ASMR eating there?
Oh, it's worse the second time.
It sounded like somebody.
Oh my gosh. This is so disgusting. It's so gross.
The good thing is this is not hot.
No.
Because like the taste is what's unbearable.
Right.
It's not really the heat.
Right. I'm crying because of the taste, not because of the heat. The hot sauce might actually make it better.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It sounded like. I can't even say.
Where's that bleep, Zach? There you go.
Okay, Andres.
I don't have a story.
You've never eaten something spicy before?
I have, but like nothing that's like memorable, like
No, it
sweating. But like I can't. I don't know. There's nothing that's like sticking out to me that's like, oh man, like this was a moment in my life that I had something spicy and.
The
I'm sorry.
spiciest.
The spice? No, nothing.
Nothing? Wow.
Yeah, it's rough. Which just means we have to eat this faster. Sorry, Russ.
Not even like what's that gum? Red Hot gum? The
Cinnamon gum?
Cinnamon
I don't
gum?
Like cinnamon gum. I think it's disgusting.
Is there
No.
a box of tissues in here?
No, but it should just. Can we just do the next one? So
I need to blow my nose. I was crying so much, my nose is running. Okay.
What? I don't have a story. Zach is upset. Zach, what's the story you have? Also, why is Zach not having one?
So he actually asked to not be a part of it, just for the record. He said, I don't want one. There's like 20 of these.
Oh, did Heather take them home?
No, they're still in the freezer. All right, so we're just going to skip yours, I guess?
I don't have one. We're not really skipping one.
Nobody believes you. It's okay, though.
They just.
even like Frank's Red Hot, one hot sauce experience.
Yeah, but
Or
like
spice
that's like.
experience.
Well, like I like wings. Like
Yeah.
I'll eat wings. Like I'm cool with that. But like nothing that's like, oh man, like.
So the spiciest wing you've ever had?
I don't remember. I'm not trying to be boring. I'm like not trying to like hide my
I'm
embarrassment.
just surprised. You're Spanish. I figured like one spicy food experience that you had.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like it's hard. I like spice. Like
Yeah.
I like putting hot sauce on like empanadas. I like wings. I love wings. But like nothing that's like, oh my, like yours was like make you cry. Like
well, yeah, that's
like
my
put
level.
hair on your chest.
Yeah.
Hair was already on my chest. So I don't know what else to say, you know?
So Andres, I'm gathering that you are medium level when it comes to spice, and you just had.
Oh yeah, if I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I get medium buffalo sauce.
Do you ever get jam and jalapeno?
No, I get
my favorite.
I get medium with honey barbecue.
Oh, you go medium then low?
Yeah. I know it's sad.
I'll take it though. That
appreciate
means
that, Rich.
you're not scared to like try something. And let me correct something here. I don't just eat spiciness to eat spiciness.
Sure.
Yeah,
So you don't just do it to do it.
Yeah.
I like spicy food. Like I love to eat something that's like, oh man, like this is spicy, like it's got a little bit of a kick to it, but not like I don't do it just for kicks and giggles, you know?
Yeah. Like the one chip challenge was literally done for video. I don't just say, I'm going to go home and I'm going to eat a one chip again. You know? If I'm eating something spicy, I usually tend to stay I'm making Andre suffer here.
No, I just keep thinking about the fact that I have to have another one of these.
So what's the issue here, though, is what I'm trying to figure out. Like,
Of this?
Yeah.
That it tastes disgusting, Russ. There's no part of this that's like, I was expecting, we were going to have chicken nuggets. Like,
that
I
would've
was.
been nice.
That was the goal.
Even
but-
Mickey D's.
No, but also,
that
like,
would've been
Rich,
smart.
You could have
Rich,
just got Mickey D's.
Rich, don't listen. I was at Dutch's for lunch today, and I said, "Hey, Russ, I have extra nuggets. I'll bring them." And he said, "No, don't worry about it. I got nuggets already."
I wasn't going to wait some. I already bought them yesterday.
You could have returned them.
That's fair.
Or gifted them to Heather, who apparently loves these.
She doesn't love them.
I don't know.
She definitely doesn't.
She likes vegan stuff. Everybody knows it's all bad, so.
Okay, great.
All right, last one, I guess.
Oh, you were going for the star.
Yeah.
You just go for it.
No, it looks too.
We're not
chunky.
playing Battle
It
Force.
looks
You just
thick.
take it.
It looks thick.
It actually is.
Okay.
It actually is. Okay. Oh, you got to go 2 forkfuls now. All right, which one do you want, Rich?
I'll take the left.
Oh, this is like a
That one doesn't even look cooked.
Dilophosaurus.
A what?
It's like a brachiosaur,
Right.
but bigger.
You really like that sauce.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the
I
sauce
gotta
is
make
good.
it count.
Yeah, the
this
sauce
sauce,
is good.
this, I don't know about maybe the nugget is changing the flavor of the sauce for me, but it all tastes bad right now.
It does. It tastes awful.
I
Rich,
just want
you
to
gotta
know.
back up while you're eating it.
My bad.
I can't listen
I'm
to
sorry
you
to
eat
anybody
it.
that's listening.
I feel about as bad as that cat right now.
He's leaning down all the way.
It
now.
was, I had to swallow mine whole because I couldn't chew because I was about to start laughing too hard because I could hear Rich. It sounds like he was like sucking out of a bottle or something. The amount of suction he was making.
That's just how I eat. I just was interested in knowing what the chunkiness inside of that is.
Right.
It's spinach.
Spinach isn't like square shaped.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
So, hottest thing I ever ate was ghost peppers were starting to get really popular around like 2012-ish. You remember that? It was like before the Viper and all that stuff. And so I was working for Young Life in Southern Connecticut, and my committee chair was like, "Oh, I got this ghost pepper stuff." It was like powder. It was dried and powdered. And so he gave me a Ziploc baggie of it. And I wasn't sure how much there was. And I was having a Super Bowl party, and I had just gotten married, and I had a crock pot I never used before. And so I looked up a recipe how to make chicken thighs and rice at the same time in the slow cooker, which I wouldn't suggest making rice in a slow cooker with food on top of it for the future. So I dumped the whole bag in, and then it was cooking like all day. And then a bunch of my friends came over to my apartment, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm cooking this ghost pepper chicken and rice. It's gonna be so good." So we all go in the kitchen because it's supposed to be done. Super Bowl's about to start, and I lift the lid off, and I didn't realize it at the time, but when I lifted the lid off and all the steam filled the room, I pepper sprayed all of us. And so we had to leave my apartment. We opened up all the doors and the windows of the apartment, and we were all like coughing all over the place, like drooling, like wow, because it was just so spicy up in the air. Sorry, the vinegar and spinach is really getting in my throat. And so then I ate the chicken, and it was like disappointingly spicy. I wanted it to like hurt me. I was like, "Come on, spiciness! This is supposed to be the spiciest pepper in the world." But then I took a fork full of rice, and like it was game over. All the spiciness had like run off of the chicken into the rice while it was cooking and absorbed into the rice. And I felt like I was dying on the inside. It was horrible. And then it was horrible again later.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Round two.
Yeah, round two.
Yeah.
And probably many, many short rounds back to back to back to back.
So
Amazing.
Yeah.
So in short, it sounds like you almost blinded everybody at the Super Bowl party first. Before
I did.
The party actually
Yeah.
started.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great party.
It's a great Super Bowl.
Yeah. That was the spiciest thing I ever ate.
Yeah, but do you see how it comes with a story?
Yeah, what's wrong
Mine
with that?
didn't come with there's no story.
Your story could have been like, I ate something really spicy and I'll never do it again.
Yeah. I went to
I-
Buffalo Wild Wings. I ordered medium level heat. I enjoyed my time there. That's the level of spice that I'll eat. Drop Mike.
Just
leave.
keep it for next time. We're going to try this again with really, really spicy stuff. We just got to find it first.
Great.
Yeah.
And not spinach nuggets.
Yeah. We'll get better nuggets next time.
Well, you have 20. I don't trust you.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. All right, so Rich, one of the things that you said you were passionate about is you're passionate about apologetics.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that for people who don't know what apologetics is, and then just tell us about it.
Yeah. So it's actually my faith story, which is funny because you guys, I think, were talking about that not that long ago. And one of the things for me was having a little bit more evidence-based thing, Christianity. And so apologetics, for those who don't know, is essentially it's a branch of Christian.
Oh, that's so gross. You just said string coming out of you.
Why are you looking? This is also the last tissue you gave me, the one and only tissue. No, I don't want some weird pocket tissue. Get out of here.
You just shut down.
Sorry,
everything
you
with
keep
that
going, keep going.
Blowing your nose.
It's gonna happen again. Just
Yeah,
just let it happen.
Just pause.
He's not editing this out.
And somehow the cat has gotten even lower than before. Oh man. Are you good now, Russ?
Sorry. I'm good.
You look like somebody hurt you.
No, I'm a big crier when it comes to things. Go on.
In short, after Russ essentially took every form of liquid out of his body, apologetics is more about making a defense or a case for your belief. So in this case, Christian apologetics would be like making a case or a defense for Christianity. So that's what it is really in short version of that. So I'm really into it, not only because it's what ultimately led me to, salvation and put my trust in Jesus. It's what I, like studying up on. I like different philosophical ways of thinking through the question, who is God? And it kind of gives me a better understanding of why I believe and how it makes sense on top of the experiential part of being saved too. What God has done for me.
So apologetics was part of your faith story.
Yeah.
So people, in my understanding, don't just come across written apologetics and they're like, that was great, now I'm a believer. Was there a specific person who you're watching videos of or that you met in person maybe that led you down this path of seeking the Lord and all that type of stuff?
Originally, it would be C.S. Lewis. So I actually, obviously he's long and gone now, but Mere Christianity was a book that I was recommended to read by, funny enough, an agnostic who told me to read it and said that's a good standing point to get through the idea of, is there a God? And then going further than that, saying who is this God? So reading through Mere Christianity and then just essentially diving into C.S. Lewis, he connected to other people that obviously piggybacked off him that are alive today. And went through different videos of different professors or even different pastors speaking at college campuses and talking about, the evidence for God and through a natural lens, and then the evidence for Jesus through the Gospels and the reliability of the Gospels and the New Testament writings.
Do you come from a family of believers?
I would say like believers in quotations, because it's like, I think a lot of my family is, especially, grandparents and my father, right, and mother, like it's more like they believed, I think, because that was like the normal thing to do as a family, especially as a Spanish, I think like a Hispanic family, you get brought up like the culture is almost part of the church, like, or church is part of like the culture.
Yep.
So you essentially like are religious because like it's part of your culture. So yeah, I would say they were believers, and they would, instill in us, biblical principles, reading the Bible and things like that. But growing up, I would say at one point or another, it turned into like, am I believing this simply because my family believes it? Did I actually make the choice to believe this? And those were the questions that I fumbled with, especially before I came to faith on my own. Yeah.
And how old were you when you came to faith?
I would say I was 22, maybe. Yeah, about 2012. So that's over 10 years ago. So probably, 21, 22.
That's crazy. All right, so I'm going to ask a super ignorant question.
Yeah.
Feel free to not answer this.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was thinking today, you didn't say what country your family's from.
No, I did not. Dominican Republic.
All right, so your family's from the Dominican Republic. I was thinking of my family today. On both sides of my family, I am third generation, like, American. So when I think of, like, cultural Christianity and stuff, I think of the way there's, like, American cultural Christianity. Is there a difference between the cultural Christianity here that you've seen as compared to in the DR?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's some similarities, and then there's like just certain like I guess religious tendencies when it comes to like Dominican. I don't want to speak for any other countries, but like Dominican Republic has. I mean, you still go, to church on a Sunday. You still have like certain holidays that are celebrated that I feel like are more along the lines of like a Roman Catholic or Catholic like denomination. So you have more of religious tendencies compared to like in America, when you have like such huge religious freedom that church means a lot of different things to many different like branches of Christianity. So, if you're going to church like in the Dominican Republic, you essentially felt like you were going to mass, if I was starting to compare it to like something here, because it was like event driven, and it was definitely like something that felt very religious in the sense of like dressing up a certain way, getting there, and like services being, X amount of time. And, what was talked about was, very structured in a way where it's like, there's no like call to like the altar or, worship in that manner. So it's different in one regard, but shares a lot of the similarities with like Catholic, faith here. So if I was to group it, it would probably be more Catholic, service style than anything else. And Pentecostal, so it's split between those two things, which are very,
Very
different from each other. So you either went to a very like mass-like service or a Pentecostal service, and I happen to go to a more like Pentecostal service. So.
And both probably very legalistic
Yeah.
in a sense. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I was curious if there's anything that like you've seen your parents do when it comes to the way they worship, or the way they do like holidays, or anything that you want the American church to do something similar. Like you haven't seen it here, but you want people to live out their faith in a way that people do there.
Yeah.
Or like your parents or whatever.
Yeah. The one thing I think is not stressed a lot in like Western, like, Christian churches is like the power that comes with like praying for something. I think in Dominican Republic, and I know Andres, you can definitely testify to that, but a lot of the people that would pray for you, you'd literally have like a community of prayer over you. One good example is when my grandfather got sick. I mean, like the entire like city essentially came and like prayed over him.
Well, like how? So do you know like how that was facilitated? Like how did that many people?
So he was known by a lot of people because he did a lot of like help in the area where we grew up in. For my Dominican people out there, we grew up in Laguna Salada, which is just, you know, I guess if you wanted to say in a district, it'd be like Santiago, like encompassing. But it's very small, like community, and essentially everybody knew him. So when he got sick, a lot of people came by to pray over him and pray over the family and bring like different incense and things like that to try to pray over that way too. Again, so it's like that branch, right, where it's like a lot of like religious acts that you would think, you know, maybe would please God and he would answer a prayer. So they came, and yeah, it was a large amount of people essentially coming in and praying, and not just praying like, oh, I pray you get better, but like really praying that his health would turn around. So, and believing that his health would turn around as they're leaving. And I'm not saying that people that pray here don't have that. I just think prayer seems to be something that is not as rich as what it really is, which is like when you're asking God for something that you really believe that he can work. If it's in his will, he would work it through. So when we pray, we tend to pray very like cautiously, which is weird because it's like you really want God to do something, but you're also reserved. You're reserved in your prayer to him. So, but yeah, I would say that would be a huge thing that I wish the Christian church here in the West would do, is just put an emphasis on prayer and what it really means to pray to God for, and, you know, the power that really comes through prayer.
Andres, you want to talk about your experience recently?
Yeah. I think I talked a little bit about it when we were on the last podcast. But I think when there's not a dependency on doctors, when there's not a dependency on medicine, and really all you have is like, hey, either we pray and like trust that this person's going to get better, or they just die. The option is like, hey, let's pray. And I think that that's kind of a challenge to the American church, because we do have so much at our disposal. You can go you have a headache, you go run to CVS, you get some Tylenol, you feel better. But I think when you're really in a situation that's like, hey, this is dire, like we need an act of God, or else like this person might pass away. Like you're more kind of willing to rely on God. And that's kind of what these people have on the island, you know, and even talking to different people while I was just there with a couple of students, that really is like, they're like, when they were talking, even one of the guys that we got to talk to, the doctor literally told him like, hey, you should start praying because this doesn't look good. And one of our students was like, that's really crazy that like a doctor was like, this doctor wasn't Christian either, from what the guy that we were talking to was saying. But his response was like, you should pray because we don't know that anything is actually going to help you. The guy is still alive today, still breathing, still walking. So I think there's just a push of like, when you don't have much, all you can rely on is God, you know? And I think I was even talking to students, and I think you can probably, Rich, relate of on the islands too, there are also people who are practicing witchcraft. So if it's not relying on God, it's also probably relying on some sort of spiritual force to take care of the situation. So it's either paying a witch doctor to do some stuff, some weird stuff, or like praying and asking the Lord to move. So you kind of have both.
Yeah. No, I could definitely agree to that. There was definitely moments, even in my childhood, that I could remember of just, you know, people seeking like help from like those means, like going to somebody that, you know, would light up, you know, fire and, you know, essentially, you know, make animal sacrifices to try to see if it can heal or,
right,
you know, answer what you're seeking for. And as a child, I would just, it felt like this feels off.
Yeah.
You know? So I could definitely attest to that. And it's crazy to me. This was in the 90s. So like thinking that even now in the late 2020s,
Right.
you are that's still happening. You know, that they see that as the means to kind of have God answer. So yeah, it's just kind of awakening to know that still kind of occurs even today.
So what are some of the apologetic type questions that you like to answer? Like, do you feel like you have a certain batch of questions that you're like, oh, I love being able to answer these questions when people have them?
Yeah, no, one of the best ones is, and I actually just came off of like doing an apologetics group, where I essentially build out, you know, kind of like the way to start that conversation. But one of the good ones is like, what kind of evidence is there for God outside of like the Bible? And I like that question because it's somebody's asking that because they've really never looked at the Bible, right? That's first point. That's what I tend to see. It's like they probably never actually read the Bible, but they have these preconceived notions of the Bible, so they don't want anything to do with the Bible for you to answer that question, and they think they got you.
Right.
But that's a good question to ask because I think that's a question that you would ask normally. If we didn't have the Bible today, like a written accord, right? You would ask that question as man. You would ask, like, what evidence do I have for a God, right? The Bible is establishing one thing, and I think that's telling us who God is, right? Overall, the picture is like, who is God in the Bible? But a lot of people are like, well, does God exist? What is God? So that question is the natural, like, material, like, question that's being asked. So, like, what evidence do you have for God without using the Bible? I would usually lean on the idea that both time and matter had a beginning. You know, as what science tells us, you know, the evidence that we have tells us that both time and matter had a beginning. So if we know that time and matter had a beginning, then whatever made the universe, whether it's a person or a thing, has to be immaterial and at least timeless for us to be able to be where we are now. So when I ask that, I usually say, what's something that comes to mind that is both immaterial and timeless, meaning eternal? And they're like, well, that sounds a little bit like a God. So it's like, okay, that's your first step, right? So now you kind of move into this sphere of, okay, maybe God is possible, right? And then now once you start getting into God is possible, then you start asking the questions like, well, who is God if he's possible, right? Who is that God? And that's when you usually jump into, there's a lot of different religions out there. What makes one right over the other? And that's when we go into, well, what's the reliability of the Gospels? Who paints a picture of who Jesus is? And Jesus obviously held the Old Testament, right, as important as anything being taught in the New Testament. So if he held that same level of importance, then that means the Old Testament is reliable too. If I think Jesus is reliable, then the Old Testament is reliable. So you kind of start moving into this like step-by-step process with like getting into an understanding, right? So when you're talking to anybody, if you're talking to an atheist, you have to, or even agnostic, you have to start with the question, well, they don't know if a God exists or they believe there is no God. So you have to move them into the sphere of, okay, maybe there is a God, right? But if you're talking to somebody who's Muslim or somebody who's like Hindu, then you have to move into the spectrum. They believe that there's a God or gods, but now it's the question of who God is and how reliable is the documents that you have, and compare the two, because obviously one contradicts the other. So it's essentially which one has more evidence that supports it and is stronger of a case, and kind of go from there.
So where you talked about like you were doing this in some sort of apologetics class. Like,
Yeah.
Were you preparing to go out and go do this somewhere?
Yes. Well, so the class, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a class, but it was a small group that, I started, and we essentially just start with the beginning. It's like, who or what, is God? And we go through the characteristics of God. Like God is powerful, God is immaterial, God is timeless, God is rational, and then God is relational. So we go through each of those things that point to there being a God that's outside of the Bible and inside of the Bible. So I like grounding it on Christianity because that's what I believe, and obviously that's what I think is the truth. But then I like pulling things that are outside of the Bible that point to God's existence and use those that context to help build the case for Christianity at the same time that I'm building the case for God. But the group is essentially, it's a quote unquote class, but it's essentially something that I started up at my old church because I always felt that a lot of people do come to faith based off experiential, an experience, right? And that's good. I think that's great because a lot of the times, if you look at the New Testament, a lot of the people that came to trust in Jesus was due to an experience that they had. So if I go to church and I had an experience with God and I really see Jesus is moving in my life, then I could put my trust in him. So that's an experience based to faith. I didn't have that, right? I had that after I had my evidence base into faith, which is I got presented with so much stuff that I just couldn't turn it away. I couldn't be like, all right, none of this is true. The only reason I would say it's not true is because I wanted to live a certain way. So I felt that my church was lacking in the department of providing people with an evidence to support their experience, so that if they ever were challenged, it wasn't simply like, well, how about if you had a really good experience at another concert? You went to I don't know, one of those crazy concerts, right? Drugs are being passed around. How about if you had an experience like that and you felt God? What's so different about that and going to church and having an experience where you felt emotional too? So it's not that the experience is bad, but I think if you don't have something to also provide evidence to that experience, you may lose that faith as you progress through life because it's not grounded on something that you see as true. Like a good example, and I don't want to be taking too much time on it, but
no, it's great. I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, a good example would be I have evidence that supports that my wife is loving and would make a good wife, right? So like that helps me in understanding that she loves me. There's evidence that supports that. But if I just had one-time experience that me and my wife shared as the only piece that I could have of her loving me, everything else that could be challenged, well, what is she doing at home when you're not when you're at working? Those type of questions start coming into play because you're like, yeah, you're right, because I only have one experience with her. So how could I judge anything else outside of that? So the evidence that supports that she loves me is the work that she does, taking care of our kids, taking care of the household, keeping me up to date on my own tasks, right? So it's like there's pieces that start playing into a part where it's like I have proof, I have evidence that supports that she's loving and caring, if that makes sense. So that idea is kind of what stemmed the whole journey for me as far as leading a group like this and like leading these type of discussions. And I do it regularly enough where I'll interact with a lot of people, whether it's online or in person. I'll go to a location and just,
Do you set up a table that says God is real? Fight me.
Fight me? Is that what you said?
No, usually I like going to somebody and I like asking them the question like, do you believe in God, and seeing what they say. And I find that very interesting to dive through their mind and what gets them to that point.
Which I think is really cool, Rich, because I think even for me, I work for the church, like those questions can be intimidating at times. Like I don't want to go walk up to someone and be like, hey, you believe in God? Because I think sometimes exactly what you're saying, I think we can have so much kind of experiential knowledge of who God is that at a certain point people are like, okay, that's great, that's awesome, but like I need something more than that. I think there are different people in the world. I think there's some people who are very set on like, hey, I'm perfectly cool with kind of the experience side. The knowledge side isn't necessarily something that is like, I need that in order to have faith that God exists. But I think in the world that we live in today, even as someone who leads a bunch of high school students, I think high school students more and more are asking more of those questions outside of the just like, okay, this feels good, but why do we believe this? And it's a challenge for me, because I would say I'm more of a like, hey, I'm okay with experience. All of the other stuff doesn't necessarily bother me. But it's challenged me to say like, hey, I actually need to dig into this stuff. Like I need to learn because I want to be able to respond. Which I think it's good for us to kind of push ourselves to learn more about that. So I think that's really, I commend you, because that is not me.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely scary trying to have those conversations, even with people who like I know and I'm friends with, and I know they're gonna love me even if I like mess it up really bad.
Right.
Still intimidating.
And I think that's still even one of the toughest. It's funny. It's tougher for me to talk to somebody who I know than it is to talk to somebody I don't know. So even when I have my friends that are, unsaved, and I ask them those questions every time, to the point where specifically one friend I had to like just say like, all right, look, I'll pause on asking you that, because I know that he's more apathetic. And I think that's the tough part about our culture, especially in America. It's like we tend to have a lot of luxuries and a lot of good things. So like we don't really have, it's like the desire for God only happens when a chaos or something happens. Mm-hmm. Whereas other places, regardless of what's happening, there is a desire to look for God. Especially like in a third world country, it's like because chaos is already all around you. So it's not like it's not like you're living a good life and then chaos happens, so you seek God. It's like chaos is always happening, so you still continue to seek God because chaos is always still happening. There's never this like moment of apathy when it comes to that. And that's even when you look at other like third world countries, especially, you see that a lot of them, whether it's tribes or anything like that, if they have a somewhat of a belief in God, all of them there don't doubt that, because they know that that's their only view of hope to have. Where here it's like, oh, we're very comfortable. Like, I have a car, I have money, I have food on the table. So it's like those things, do I need God? I don't know. I don't really know if I need to go to church. And if you try to ask somebody like, do you believe in God? Like, I really don't care if God exists or doesn't. So that's tough to like approach that type of person, because it's apathy. It's no experience or evidence will in turn like convince that person like out of that. They have to come to an understanding of like, all right, maybe I should look into who God is or what God is.
Andres, when you were in the DR, did you do any like street evangelism type stuff?
Somewhat. We did more just kind of like talking to different families and getting to know kind of what was the atmosphere, and kind of the kind of mainstream thing you would hear from a lot of families were like, yeah, we believe in God, we pray a lot, and that was really kind of like that's what relationship with God looked like, was just like, we believe in God, so we pray. And we were actually talking to one of our translators, and he was like, for a lot of people, like actually like knowing who God is and like really like digging into that, like it's not as important to them as just like talking to God and like praying. Like that to them is a relationship with God, is being able to pray to him. But I definitely think like there's more of an openness to talk about it than like, yeah, if you were to go to downtown Fairfield, which I think people have done before from Black Rock, to like, hey, let's talk about this. And oftentimes like the answer you get is like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, even high school students that come to Black Rock aren't necessarily like, I'm here because I want to know more about God. They're like, I'm here because a friend brought me. I mean, I don't really like, I go to church. Like, I've never been to church before. Like, I've gone to church, but like, whatever. Like, it's not like this like intense, like, I really need to know who God is. It's just this like, oh, yeah, well, if he's real, cool. If he's not, like, okay, life goes on. It's kind of that, what Rich is saying, just that apathetic life.
Mm. You just reminded me of my time working for Young Life in southern Fairfield County. It was interesting because the town kept doing all this stuff to try to reach the kids. they had this like crazy community center. It was like mind blowing just for teens. They'd get like every time like a new system came out, Xbox One just came out. They bought a bunch of them. They had these huge TVs when huge TVs weren't as common. And they kept thinking if they kept getting like the most attractive stuff, then all the kids would come. And it wasn't a Christian thing. It was like a town thing. And it's because the kids already had that stuff at home. So there was no draw. And for us trying to communicate the gospel to kids, the hardest thing was to get the kids to understand need, because they like didn't have any needs. We would go and sit some of their houses, and they'd have jars full of money, like thousands of dollars of cash just on hand if we wanted to get takeout, stuff like that. So like they didn't understand what like need meant, what it felt like. So it was like, how do you get someone who's never understood need before to understand that they need Jesus? So that apathy, I think, is just from a lack of understanding of just even like concepts like need. But somewhere where people are constantly living in need and they see their lack all over the place, I feel like the need for Jesus is really easily understood. I don't know if that really makes sense.
No, that totally does. I think that's why the gospel to people that are, poor and, kind of lost and don't have anything, don't have much, Jesus makes total sense, because Jesus came with nothing, bearing nothing, but gave us the most important gift of all, right? Salvation. So to them, they just see Jesus as this servant that is relatable, and somebody that's living in a third world country can relate to Jesus a lot more than somebody who's living in the United States that has a lot, right? So to them, it's like this image of Christ is like, oh, this makes sense. Like, it's like this is somebody that I can follow and put my trust in, where somebody who's rich and has not even rich, just is living, comfortably, it's tough for them to make that choice, because they're like, what do I have to give up? They see it as, what am I giving up to get Jesus? Where somebody that is in a third world country is like, I don't have anything to give up other than my life. Like, that's the only valuable thing that I have. So to them, it's like very easy for them to say, I will give my life to this person. Where somebody here is like, well, giving my life means giving my resources and everything that I have, that I've possessed. And that's tough for somebody.
Which is interesting, because anytime you see Jesus interact with people in the Bible, it's typically the lame, the people that he heals, the people who are disregarded, the outcasts, that are so willing to like, all right, I'll drop everything. I'll follow you. Like, whatever you want, I'll do. But then you have the rich young ruler who comes to Jesus and says, what do I have to give up to follow you? And Jesus is like, everything. And he walks away. He doesn't respond. He just walks away. And the crazy part is Jesus lets him. Like, we don't hear Jesus like chasing after him, going to find him, or even Jesus saying like, let me lessen that for you. Not everything, maybe just a couch, but I think it's just so interesting that these people who had nothing, who were social outcasts, who were left behind, are the ones who are like, oh, you're offering me purpose. Like, okay, I'll follow you. But the one who has everything turns away and says no.
Yeah.
I just want to say the amount of burps I've had is a record.
I can still taste in the back of my throat, and it's disgusting.
I've burped at least 20 times. I keep having to turn away from the microphone. I apologize for that if you guys are getting smells of secondhand spinach nuggets. So as we close today, how about we go around and I want to hear what you guys, if you guys were going to make a spicy food restaurant, what would the name of your spicy food restaurant be, and what are you serving? Like, what's like your main dish, and then that's it. That's our sign off for today.
That's a lot.
All right.
That's big.
That's not a big thing. You just name your restaurant and what your main spicy food is, and then you move on. It's easy. Zach, you go first. Wait for it.
I wish there was a camera on him.
You don't need it. He's the voice from beyond.
Yes.
The voice from beyond. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes,
All right, sweet. I love spicy miso ramen, and so it'd probably be just that.
I love
Spicy miso ramen.
And that's all I serve.
There's no pun.
You ramen be kidding me? I don't know. Let's see more. No, that's it.
You gonna be raw, man?
No, I don't like
I
that.
don't like that.
I don't like that one at all.
It's about round 2.
You're up, Russ.
Okay. Can somebody else go? Because I haven't thought about it yet.
You asked the question.
You asked
I know.
the question.
Okay, I can think of questions without thinking about the answer. It took all my creative ability to come up with a question. Okay, so spicy food. It's gonna be called Spicy Russ's Paradise, and I'm gonna sell. It's gonna be dice themed, so it'll be like cubed chicken nuggets covered in really, really spicy sauce. That's it.
This is really bad.
You didn't give me time to think.
Right. Well, you just sprung the question on us.
It's okay. You've had time now. You go.
I don't,
Give us your genius idea since you
I don't-
poo-pooed mine so much.
I don't have any.
Make it snappy.
Make it snappy.
Yeah. That's what Zach says.
Oh, sorry, Zach.
Unless Rich has one.
Rich,
no,
go.
we can't skip
I
you.
got one.
No,
Okay, Rich is
on,
going. Rich is
on
going.
podcast.
The Spicy Pot. That's the
on.
name of the restaurant. Spicy Pot. And essentially, it'll be a pot that will have a blend of all the hottest spices, and you would cook whatever you want in it.
Like
and
kind of
then
like
eat it.
like
Almost like Korean, hot pot, right?
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that.
Nice.
like make your own hibachi.
Yeah, but it's this sauce that everything you're cooking in it. The base won't be. So rice and like noodles won't be spicy.
Sure.
Yeah.
But all the
Unless
protein
they're
or
Russ's.
vegetables would be. Sure.
You saying that's their Russ's?
Yeah, well, your spicy rice,
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Your
yeah,
spicy
your
rice.
ghost pepper rice.
Good point. Good point.
Okay, spice A. Like, get it, spice A. I just want Mexican food, spicy Mexican food.
Just everything is spicy.
Everything spicy.
You get some taquitos. They're just molten lava
That's-
taquitos.
That's right.
So is the like apostrophe on the E, spice A?
No,
Spanish?
no.
Accent mark, I should say.
No. It's spice, and then A, like AY.
Oh, okay.
Are the A and the Y like they're flame letters?
Sure.
Oh, that's nice. You're
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
up with logos and graphics.
If
here.
if no one knew, Rich, tell them what your position is.
I'm the communications manager here at BlackRock, so I do a lot of the graphic stuff too.
So Russ is trying to take his job.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's it. All right, I resign.
Thank you.
All right, let's close this out.
All right. Bye.
Bye. See you later.
Oh, Jack Johnson, swear I heard them angel calls. Lay outside as heaven falls.